Hey folks, join me for a little tour of the Waterfront Boardwalk and the Halifax Central Library on this beautiful summer day. The Waterfront Boardwalk is probably the most iconic tourist destination in Halifax. Nearby, there's also the Peggy's Cove Lighthouse and other spots, but this is right in the heart of the city. And Halifax was historically a real working port, and it had lots of warehouses and shipping companies, and even fish processing plants and rail lines and heavy industry along the waterfront. And the public had limited access there. It was a real utilitarian place. It was not a spot for leisure or tourism. And indeed, after dark, you would think twice about going to that part of the city. Much of the land along the harbor was privately owned or leased by companies tied to the shipping industry. The Harbor Hopper is an absolute blast going into the harbor and around the downtown. There's always a variety of ships and boats that come and dock at the wharves and piers. All summer long, there's a steady traffic of tour boats coming in. Sometimes there are more than one, and they're the big, huge ones. In this area might be elbow to elbow people out enjoying themselves. And there are various festivals and events that happen as well. And it's usually pretty busy. This is the most quiet you'll see it on a summer day. Over the last few years, we've seen a number of residential complexes here, apartments and condos, and with that come restaurants and small shops and businesses and micro park areas, and it's a lot of fun, very vibrant and alive with a lot of people in the area. This sculpture by Chris Hansen and Hendrika Sonneberg is called Get Drunk, Fall Down, and it's a lamppost slumped across a pier with its concerned friend looking on. It's quite a funny and quirky piece of art. The Nova Scotia Power corporate headquarters on the right is the site of a decommissioned generating plant. It used to be a power generating plant, and they've changed it to a new and, I guess, environmentally friendly building with all kinds of alternative ways to save and conserve energy.
I think so. Lots of reports, of them coming into the harbor, Eastern Passage, so they must be around.
I think it's the boat stirring out a little bit.
Oh, yeah. I saw a picture last night on social media. Somebody had a bucket full of them, so good luck.
Coolly. Thanks.
Getting any mackerels?
Yes, there was line in the water to catch mackerels.
What's that?
So he has to throw his line.
Oh yeah, you gotta try. You gotta keep trying.
Yes, he wants to watch. I don't think he wants to miss the show of towing the boat out. That's what it is.
Oh well, that's a good alternative. Yeah.
Nothing yet, but we've only been here 15 minutes.
Yeah, I saw a picture on, I don't know, Facebook or Instagram last night. Somebody got a bucket of them in the Eastern Passage.
Yeah, so they might be more over that side. They might not be like this far in yet.
Yeah.
Sometimes, and I found like we came here one time and there was a big cruise ship, and it was sticking all the way to here.
Yeah.
But like whatever, like just like almost like food waste that leaves out of it. Like, there was like noodles of fish.
It drew them in.
Yeah.
Chum.
So
They've got to be in the harbor. They've got to be here. Just a matter of
the
time.
tide's going up right now.
Oh, okay.
High
Yep.
tide's at 2.
Okay.
Now, so
Yeah,
most of the
1:30.
casualties that go in there.
Yeah. Just a matter of time. Good luck.
The wharf on the left is where tour boats tie up and dock in the summertime, and there might be, sometimes there are 2 or 3 of these gigantic tall ships tied up there with thousands of passengers and tourists pouring out. These buildings are filled with cafes and pavilions and craft shops and so on, and they're often very busy. And the black building on the left is the Nova Scotia College of Art and Design University. And now we're coming up on the Pier 21 Immigration Museum on the left. This is where thousands and thousands of immigrants arrived in Canada, usually headed for points west. And it's now an amazing museum and exhibition hall. This sculpture shows Ruth Goldblum, who died in 2012. She was a philanthropist and co-founder of the Museum of Immigration at Pier 21.
Halifax's Central Library, and it's about, I don't know, 7, 8 years old, something like that, and it's an award-winning design, and it's a beautiful spot. I just love it. That sort of tells you all you need to know about this library. And this board here tells you a lot you need to know about Halifax too. It's a pretty progressive, I would say, left-wing type of city. Nothing off the charts, but very supportive of community and that type of thing. The arts, we have a big art scene here. And in the 80s, the Buddhists, Shambhala Buddhists from Colorado, all moved to Halifax. Like there were hundreds of them, and they set up there. This was their spot. They set up here, made a big difference in the city, in the economy, and in the art scene. And the spin-off is still here today. It's very clear. So we were lucky about that. Anyways, I'm not sure why they chose Nova Scotia. Something to do with the Bay of Fundy maybe, and the powerful tides. I don't know, but we were lucky. And you know, the payoff is here. Like here's a Tibetan Buddhist retreat, and you can be rest assured that a lot of this art stuff and so on is tied into the children of the people who came in the 80s, or maybe even the grandchildren. Hard to say, but pretty cool. Well, I hope you enjoyed that little tour of Halifax, and especially our waterfront, which is amazing. It wasn't always that way. In the early 70s, it was a scary spot to be, with broken down wharves and old semi-abandoned industrial buildings and old ships, hulks, relics of ships down at the waterfront. And you know, you didn't want to be down there after dark. So things have changed, as you can see. We have what used to be the Waterfront Development Corporation. It's now Develop Nova Scotia, and they really went to town on acquiring properties and spending money there. And it's paid off. Our tourism industry is booming, and Halifax is a city of, I think, 480,000 people, and that includes the municipality. So it's satellite communities as well. That's not the downtown core. We're on a peninsula, so I would call it the peninsular core. That's the population is less than that, quite a bit less, but it's a great city. I would call it a medium-sized city with a real cosmopolitan international flair, especially with some of the immigration that's happened over the last 10 to 15 years. You know, 25 years ago, you would not see a turban or a sari or, you know, Northern African clothing in Halifax, and now it's commonplace, and our community is stronger for it, from what I can tell, despite tremendous challenges with housing and the immigration. No question it contributed to that. It didn't keep, residential development didn't keep up with the immigration. Hopefully it's going to catch up soon. Development has been going nuts in Halifax. It seems that there are cranes all over the place, and every former industrial lot or, you know, underutilized commercial lot is being dug out and developed, and condos and apartments are going up all over the place. So, you know, the buildings, the residential units are coming. There's no question about it. And hopefully supply will meet and exceed demand, and maybe lower rental rates as well. I'm not sure how that works. I don't have any economics background, so it seems a little naive to think that will bring down rents, but I don't know. Maybe rents just won't increase for a while. But one of the pitfalls of development, one of the fly in the ointment, is that a lot of, let's call it, substandard housing has been lost, and in a lot of cases this housing was affordable. It was small, rundown, and rents were, you know, affordable. And those are being torn down one after the other, these old houses. So we not only lose heritage, but we lose that housing stock, the lower end housing stock, and it's being replaced with new units, whether condos or apartments. And those are never affordable, you know, when people can do it. But we have a bit of a homeless population here, like probably every city in North America, maybe in Europe too, I don't know. Luckily, the government has been setting up shelters, and they do their best, as far as I can tell, to try to provide some social safety net for these people. So anyways, Halifax, all of that aside, Halifax is a beautiful city. I've lived here since I was born in 1961, and Heather lived here for most of her life. When she was younger, her family moved around because her father was in the Navy, but they settled in Halifax in 1978, which is, you know, not much before we met. So, anyways, I hope you enjoyed that, and if you like it, drop me a comment below, and you know, if you're not subscribed, subscribe, please, and drop me a comment if you want more stuff like this, and I'll gladly oblige you. So, thanks for following along. You're not alone. Bye.